They say the truth always comes to light, but what happens when the only witness to murder is someone the world has trained itself not to see? This is the story of Sofia Reyes, a woman the cameras captured, a woman the executives ignored, a woman who stood between a billionaire and death itself, and when she opened her mouth to speak, everything she had ever known was about to shatter. This is the story of the invisible witness. New York City. 2:47 in the morning. Most people think the city sleeps at this hour. They're wrong. The city never sleeps. It just changes costumes. The ambitious go home. The desperate come out. The cleaners, the security guards, the overnight stalkers, the people who keep the machine running while everyone else dream. In the heart of Manhattan, where glass towers scrape against clouds and ambition is measured in billions, stood a building that symbolized everything America promises: Titan Global Industries, 68 floors of steel, glass and power, a company worth $42 billion. A name whispered in boardrooms from Singapore to Sao Paulo. The kind of corporation that doesn't just follow markets, it creates them. At the very top of that building, in an office designed by an architect who charged more for a consultation than most people earn in a year, stood a man who had conquered every mountain capitalism had to offer. Marcus Webb, a 45-year-old self-made billionaire with no privilege in life who is an orphan who built Titan. A man who had clawed his way from a foster home in Detroit to the Forbes 400 list. The media called him a genius, Wall Street called him ruthless, his enemies called him untouchable. But on this particular Tuesday night, as Marcus stood alone by his floor-to-ceiling window, staring down at the city that had made him, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: unease. The kind that settles in your chest when you can't see the threat, but you know it is circling. He loosened his silk Italian custom-made tie, worth more than most people's monthly rent, and exhaled slowly. The numbers on his latest quarterly report had been good, exceptional even. But something was off. Board members were whispering. Certain executives avoided eye contact. Someone was making moves behind his back and he could feel it. Marcus had survived corporate warfare before: hostile takeovers, smear campaigns, industrial espionage. He had crushed every single threat with calculated precision. But this time felt different. This time, the enemy was already inside the walls of the building. Far below on the maintenance level, is a supply closet. A place that smells of bleach and forgotten mop water goes a woman who was putting her 7-year-old daughter to bed. Not in a bedroom, not in a shelter, but in a storage room, on a makeshift bed constructed from flattened cardboard boxes and a donated sleeping bag that had seen better winters. Sofia Reyes knelt beside her daughter. Sofia was a 36-year-old lady who had come to America from Honduras 12 years ago with her husband Carlos. They were chasing the same dream that had drawn millions before them: a better life, safety and opportunity. Carlos had been a construction worker, a good one. He was strong, careful and dedicated. They had saved money and had rented a small apartment in Queens. They had also applied for green cards. Their daughter Isabella had been born here, making her a citizen, which means their bridge to a better future seemed almost within reach. Then 2 years ago, Carlos fell from a 15 stories construction building. A faulty safety harness that the contractor had insisted was fine. He died before the ambulance arrived. What followed was a nightmare that no one prepares you for: hospital bills that insurance refused to cover, funeral costs, legal fees for a lawsuit that went nowhere because the construction company had filed for bankruptcy 3 weeks after Carlos's death. Sofia fought. She worked 2 jobs. She begged her landlord for more time, but capitalism doesn't bend for grieving single mothers. Her eviction notice came on a Tuesday. The shelter system was full, and suddenly, Sofia Reyes, a woman who had always worked and tried and believed that hard work would be enough, became one of the invisible. She got the job at Titan Global through a staffing agency that asked no questions: a night shift janitorial work, minimum wage with no benefits, but it was something. And because no one watches the cleaning staff too closely, she had found this storage room, tucked away on a forgotten maintenance floor, a place where she and Isabella could sleep a few hours before Sofia had to wake up, get Isabella ready. Every morning she dropped her off at a friend's apartment before school. It wasn't easy. She had 8 floors to clean before sunrise, so she started on the executive level. The 65th floor was always quiet at 3 in the morning. Sofia pushed her cart across marble tiles so polished they reflected the overhead lights like still water. Her rubber-soled shoes made no sound. She had learned to move quietly. Ghosts don't make noise. She started in the executive washroom, scrubbed the sinks, restocked paper towels, wiped down mirrors that reflected a face she barely recognized anymore. She moved through the corridors methodically, office by office, trashing bin by trash bin. Rich people throw away so much. She saw half-eaten salads from restaurants she couldn't afford to walk past. Printed documents marked confidential littered over the office that nobody bothered to shred it. A pair of designer glasses was left seating on a desk, probably forgotten, probably worth 2 weeks of Sophia's salary, but she didn't touch them. As she approached the executive break room, a space with Italian espresso machines, a wine fridge, and furniture that belonged in a luxury hotel, she heard voices, male voices, low and tense. Sophia froze. Instinct kicked in, the instinct every invisible person develops. Don't be seen, don't be noticed, don't even exist. She stepped back into the shadows of the hallway. Her cart silent against the wall through the partially open door. Right there, she saw 2 men. She recognized them well. Derek Chen, Marcus Webb's chief of staff, mid-30s, Ivy League educated, always wore suits that looked like they cost more than cars. He had the kind of face that smiled easily but never reached the eyes. And the second person was Vincent Harlow Jr., chief financial officer, older, 48. The man who controlled every dollar that flowed through Titan Global. They shouldn't have been there, not at 3 in the morning. Derek pulled something from his jacket pocket, a small glass vial, clear liquid inside. Sophia's breath caught in fear and silence. "This is insane," Vincent whispered, his voice shaking. "Once he drinks this, there's no reversing it. No going back." Derek's jaw tightened, his hand didn't waver. "Marcus is going to announce the merger vote on Friday. Sterling guarantees us nothing, we'll be out and replaced, and become obsolete." Vincent swallowed hard. "But murder, Derek. We're talking about murder here." "No, we're talking about survival," Derek snapped. "Sterling promised us $20 million each, offshore accounts, new identities if we need them. Obsidian gets Titan Global and we get our futures back." Sophia's heart began to hammer so loudly she was certain they could hear it. Her hands trembled. She watched, frozen, terrified, unable to look away as Derek unscrewed the lid of a large coffee thermos sitting on the counter. Marcus Webb's personal thermos, everyone in the company knew it, custom-made, titanium, engraved with his initials. He drank from it every morning during board meetings. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream, same routine, predictable, deadly. Derek tilted the vial. The clear liquid poured into the coffee in a thin silent stream. He didn't stop. He screwed the lid back on, wiped the rim with his sleeve. Vincent stared at the thermos like it was a bomb. "It'll look like a heart attack, right?" Vincent asked. "The coroner won't find anything?" Derek nodded. "Synthetic alkaloid, mimics natural cardiac arrest, untraceable. He'll be dead within 20 minutes of drinking it, clean and professional." Vincent exhaled shakily. "Sterling better keep his promise." "He will," Derek said. "Now let's get out of here separately. We were never here." They left through different exits. Sophia remained pressed against the wall, her entire body shaking. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. What had she just witnessed? She stared at the break room, at the thermos sitting innocently on the counter, at the future it represented. If Marcus Webb drank that coffee tomorrow morning, he would die, and 2 men would walk away $20 million richer. Sophia's mind raced. She should call the police. But what would she say? She was an undocumented worker living illegally in a storage room. She had no proof, no recording, just her word against 2 powerful executives. Who would believe her? She thought about running, grabbing Isabella and disappearing. But where would they go? They had nowhere, no money, no one, and if she said nothing, a man would die, a man she didn't know. A man who probably didn't even know she existed, but still, a man. Sophia closed her eyes and thought of Carlos, of the construction company that let him die because safety cost money, of the lawyers who didn't care because poor people don't win lawsuits, of every system that had failed her, and suddenly, she knew, she couldn't let another person die because someone decided their life was worth less than money. She grabbed her phone, a cracked Android she had bought for just $45. She opened the camera app, her hands shook as she stepped back toward the break room. She took a photo of the thermos, then another, She zoomed in on the engraving, MW, then she stepped back out. Her heart thundering, her breath shallow. It wasn't much, but it was something. Dawn came too quickly. Sophia had barely slept. She kept seeing Derek's hand, the vial, the thermos. At 6:30, she woke Isabella. They shared a breakfast of stale crackers and warm water from the bathroom tap. Sophia walked her daughter to the subway station and watched her get on the train toward her friend's apartment in Brooklyn, a woman from their old neighborhood who watched Isabella before school. Then Sophia returned to Titan Global. She clocked in, she changed into a fresh uniform, and she waited. By 9 o'clock, the executive floor was alive. Assistants rushed through hallways, phones rang, printers hummed, the machinery of capitalism grinding forward. Sophia pushed her cart slowly, pretending to restock supplies, but in reality, she was watching and waiting patiently. At 9:15, Marcus Webb's executive assistant, a young beautiful woman named Rachel with a perfect posture. She had a Bluetooth earpiece on and permanently attached. She announced over the intercom, "Morning briefing in the boardroom in 10 minutes." Sophia's chest tightened. The boardroom, that's where Marcus always drank his coffee. She moved closer with her cleaning cart, her only excuse to be there. The boardroom filled quickly, 14 people, board members, senior executives, Derek Chen, Vincent Harlow, and then Marcus Webb himself, tall, commanding, silver hair that somehow made him look more powerful, but not older, a navy suit that probably cost $10,000. He moved like a man who had never questioned his place in the world. Sophia positioned herself near the wall, invisible, just another cleaner. No one looked at her, no one ever did. Marcus took his seat at the head of the table. Rachel placed his thermos in front of him. The poison thermos. Sophia's heart stopped. Marcus adjusted innocently. He opened the lid. Steam rose like it always does. He lifted it toward his lips freely. Sophia's body moved before her mind could stop it. She shouted, "Stop!" The word exploded from her throat like a gunshot. 14 heads turned towards her. Silence crashed over the room. Marcus froze. The thermos hovered just inches from his mouth. Everyone stared. A janitor, a brown-skinned woman in a gray uniform, shouting at a billionaire. Derek stood up immediately. His face was covered with shock. He looked so outraged. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" he snapped. "Security." But Marcus raised his hand. "Wait." His voice was calm, steady. He set the thermos down slowly and looked directly at Sophia. "Explain now," he said quietly. Sophia's legs shook. Her voice cracked. "The coffee," she whispered. It's poisoned." Gasps rippled through the room. Vincent went pale. Derek's expression didn't change, but his eyes turned cold. "That's absurd," Derek said smoothly. "This woman is clearly unwell." "Rachel, call the security." "I saw you," Sophia interrupted him. Her voice stronger now. "Last night, 3 in the morning, you and him," she pointed at Vincent, "you put something in that thermos." The room erupted. "This is slander. She's lying. Get her out of here." But Marcus didn't move. He studied Sophia's face, and then he did something no one expected. He pulled out his phone. "If you're lying," Marcus said quietly, "you'll be arrested. But if you're telling the truth, then I need to see proof." Sophia's hands trembled as she pulled out her cracked phone. She showed him the photos, the thermos, the timestamp, 3:14 a.m. Marcus stared at the screen. Then he stood up. "Everyone, stay where you are," he said calmly with shock in his eyes. He walked to a panel on the wall and pressed a hidden button. A screen descended from the ceiling. "This building has security cameras everywhere," Marcus said, "including hidden ones that aren't on the main system." Derek's face went slack. Vincent's hand started to shake. Marcus pulled up footage from the executive break room. 3:14 a.m., crystal clear. Derek entering, Vincent following. The vial, the pouring, the conversation, every single word. The boardroom went silent. You could have heard a heartbeat. Vincent collapsed into his chair, his face in his hands. Derek stood frozen, his brain clearly racing through every possible escape route and finding none at this moment. Marcus dialed 911 on his phone. "This is Marcus Webb," he said calmly. "I need NYPD Major Crimes Division at Titan Global Industries, 65th floor, attempted murder." He hung up, and then he looked at Derek and Vincent. "Sterling offered you 20 million each," Marcus asked quietly. Vincent sobbed. Derek said nothing. So you were going to kill me so that Jonathan Sterling could execute a hostile takeover through Obsidian Industries, he said as he walked toward them. I have survived hostile takeovers before in life. But I've never had someone try to poison me in my own building. Police arrived 7 minutes later. Detectives, uniformed officers, the kind of response reserved for crimes involving people who matter. Marcus told them all that happened. Handcuffs clicked, rights were read. Vincent broke completely. I didn't want to, he sobbed, but Sterling said if we didn't do it, he would destroy us. He had leverage. He knew about the offshore accounts, the insider trading. We didn't have a choice. Derek stayed silent. A lawyer was already on his phone. As they were led away, a detective turned to Sophia. Ma'am, she said gently. We will need a full statement from you. Sophia nodded in agreement. But another detective, older, sharper eyes, frowned. What were you doing in the building at 3 in the morning? He asked. The question hung in the air. Sophia looked down. I worked the night shift, she said quietly. And after your shift, he asked. There was silence in the room. Ma'am, where do you live? Sophia's throat closed. She felt every eye in the room on her. Finally, she whispered, here. Confusion rippled through the boardroom. You live here? The detective repeated. Yes, I live here, Sophia said, her voice breaking. In a storage room, with my daughter. We don't have anywhere else. The room went completely still. Marcus Webb, a man who had just survived an assassination attempt, who controlled an empire billions of dollars, stared at the woman who saved his life. You're homeless? He asked quietly. Sophia nodded, tears finally breaking free. I didn't mean to break any rules, she whispered. I just needed somewhere safe for my daughter. I work every shift they give me. I don't steal. I don't bother anyone. I just clean. Her voice cracked on the last word, and for the first time in 20 years of running a company, Marcus Webb felt something he hadn't felt since he was a foster kid sleeping in a car. Shame. The media explosion was instantaneous. By noon, every news outlet in the country was running the story. Billionaire CEO survives assassination plot. Janitor saves billionaire's life. Homeless mother stops corporate murder. Reporters swarmed Titan Global. Derek Chen and Vincent Harlow were charged with attempted murder, conspiracy, and corporate espionage. Jonathan Sterling, CEO of Obsidian Industries, was arrested at his estate in Connecticut after the FBI raided his offices and found encrypted communications detailing the entire plot. Titan Global stock initially dropped 12%. Then, when Marcus gave a press conference praising Sophia Reyes and announcing a complete internal investigation, it rebounded faster than when it dropped. But none of that mattered to Sophia. She sat in a police station, giving statements, answering questions, terrified that at any moment someone would arrest her for trespassing or deport her for being undocumented. But instead, a lawyer arrived, not a public defender, a senior partner from one of the most expensive firms in Manhattan. Ms. Reyes, he said gently, I've been retained by Mr. Webb to represent you. You won't be charged with anything and we're going to help you. Sophia didn't understand. 3 days later, she was called to Titan Global's executive offices. She walked in terrified, holding Isabella's hand. Rachel, the assistant who used to look past Sophia like she was nobody, acted differently. She smiled warmly at Sophia and offered Isabella a juice box. Marcus Webb appeared in the doorway. He looked different, tired and human, never felt this way in his life before. Sophia, he said quietly, can we talk? They sat in his office, not across a desk, in chairs facing each other, as equals. You saved my life, Marcus said simply. I've been thinking about that a lot. He leaned forward. You had every reason not to. You were scared, vulnerable. You had your daughter to protect. You could have stayed silent. Most people would have kept mute. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. But you didn't, Marcus continued. You risked everything, for someone you didn't even know. He reached into his desk and pulled out an envelope. This is the deed to an apartment, he said. A 3-bedroom, safe neighborhood in Queens. It is close to some good schools. It's yours, free and clear. Sophia's hands shook as she took the envelope. She couldn't find words. Marcus held up his hand. There's more, he said. You're being promoted, Director of Facilities Management, salary, $120,000 a year, full benefits, health insurance, retirement plan and a legal assistance for your immigration case. Sophia started crying. Not quiet tears, full body shaking sobs. She whispered, "Why are you doing this?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Because 25 years ago," he said softly, "I was you." She looked up. "I grew up in foster care as an orphan. Bounced between homes, slept in cars, ate from food pantries. I know what it's like to be invisible." He met her eyes. "The only difference between you and me is luck. I got a scholarship, met the right mentor, caught a break." He smiled sadly. "You deserved a break, Sophia, you earned it." But Sophia shook her head. "No," she said firmly, "I just did what was right." "Exactly," Marcus said, "and that's rarer than you think." A few days later, Sophia moved into her apartment on a Saturday morning. Isabella ran through the rooms, squealing with joy. She shouted, "Mama, I have my own room and with a real bed." Sophia stood in the kitchen, a real kitchen with a stove and a refrigerator full of food, and cried. She started her new job the following Monday. Her team respected her, not because Marcus had promoted her, but because she had earned it through so many years of hard work no one had ever cared to acknowledge. Isabella enrolled in a good public school, made friends, stopped asking when they could go home. Because they were home, Marcus checked in regularly, not as a boss, but as a friend. He introduced Sophia to other executives. He also invited her to company events, made sure everyone knew her name, and slowly, Sophia became visible, not just to Marcus, but to everyone. Meanwhile, the legal cases unfolded. Derek Chen pleaded guilty to attempted murder and conspiracy, sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. Vincent Harlow testified against Jonathan Sterling in exchange for a reduced sentence, 12 years. Jonathan Sterling tried so hard to fight all of the charges. But the evidence was overwhelming. Encrypted emails, wire transfers, recorded phone calls. He was convicted on 14 counts, 25 years to life. Obsidian Industries collapsed within a month. Titan Global survived stronger than before. 1 year after the day Sophia stopped Marcus from drinking poisoned coffee, Titan Global held its annual shareholder meeting. The ballroom was packed. Investors, media and employees. Marcus stood at the podium, looking out over the crowd. "A year ago," he began, "someone tried to kill me." The room went silent. Two executives I trusted, a competitor I respected. They decided my life was worth less than a corporate takeover. They would have succeeded, I would be dead. Titan Global would have been gutted and sold for parts and thousands of jobs would have been lost. He looked toward the back of the room. But they didn't succeed, because one woman, someone this company had trained itself not to see, decided that a life mattered more than her own safety. He gestured. "Sophia Reyes, would you please stand?" Sophia, sitting in the back row, felt her face flush. She stood slowly. The room erupted with an applause. Not polite corporate clapping, a standing ovation. Marcus waited for it to quiet. Sophia was homeless, he said bluntly. She was working for minimum wage. She was sleeping in a storage room with her daughter, and yet when she saw injustice she spoke up. He locked eyes with the audience. How many of us would have done the same? There was silence in the room. "We live in a world that worships success," Marcus continued, "but success without integrity is just theft with a better marketing team." He smiled. "This year, Titan Global is launching the Invisible Impact Initiative, a foundation dedicated to supporting low-income workers, providing housing assistance, educational scholarships, legal aid for immigrants." There was more applause. "Because Sophia taught me something I had forgotten," Marcus said quietly and smiled. "The people we don't see, they're the ones holding everything together." After the meeting, reporters swarmed Sophia. "How does it feel to be a hero? What would you say to other people in your situation?" Sophia looked at the cameras, and she thought about every night she had spent terrified, every morning she had woken up in that storage room, every time she had felt invisible. "I'm not a hero," she said simply. "I just spoke up. That's all any of us have to do, see something wrong and say something, even if you're scared, even if you think no one will listen." She looked directly into the camera. "Someone will listen, someone has to," a reporter asked. "What would you say to people who feel powerless?" Sophia smiled. "You're only powerless if you stay silent," she said. "Your voice matters, even if the world has taught you otherwise. Just do the right thing." 5 years later, Isabella Reyes graduated at the top of her middle school class. She wants to be a lawyer. Sophia Reyes became vice president of operations at Titan Global Industries. and Marcus Webb did much more for charity. The Invisible Impact Initiative has helped over 10,000 families escape homelessness. Derek Chen and Vincent Harlow remain in prison. Jonathan Sterling died of a heart attack, a real one, in federal custody. And every year, on the anniversary of that morning in the boardroom, Marcus and Sophia have coffee together, not poisoned, just black, no sugar. They talk about their kids, about work and about life, and they remember the moment when everything changed. Because sometimes, the smallest voice in the room is the one that saves everything. This is the story of Sophia Reyes, the invisible witness. The woman who proved that heroism doesn't require power, what you need rather is courage. And the willingness to speak when everyone expects you to stay silent. If this story moved you, I want you to do something. Look around at the person who cleans your office every other of the day. The security guard who holds the door, the delivery driver who brings your packages. See them, learn their names, recognize their humanity. Because the world only changes when we stop treating people like background noise. Sophia Reyes was invisible, until she wasn't. Who around you is invisible right now, and what are you going to do about it? This has been The Invisible Witness. Thank you for listening. Please don't just watch. Like, subscribe and share this video for more videos. It means so much to us. What would you have done if you were Sophia? Please, let's hear your opinion in the comments section.